Here's our favorite way at Lawton Digital to set up and configure XML sitemaps on a WordPress website. So first, we like the Yoast SEO plugin for WordPress. If you haven't installed that yet, there's a free version of the plugin that is adequate for what we're going to review today. So stop and go and download the Yoast SEO plugin and upload it to your WordPress website. Once you've done that, you're going to go into the menu settings, and in WordPress, go on to the SEO option, and you can recognize this is Yoast logo, and then go over to General. And that's where we'll start. Sorry, go to XML Sitemaps. First, check the box to enable XML sitemap functionality. We'll get back to testing it later. Next, we're going to go to the User Sitemap option. If this site is a blog that's going to have multiple authors or one prominent author who's going to very frequently use it and also has their own reputation, it's great to give that author their own sitemap. Go ahead and uncheck that box to include it. In our case, and in many cases, for a small business, for example, their main focus of the website is not the blog, so there's no reason to have it on. Next are your post types. So for post types, WordPress generates different post types, and it's going to be different for every theme. The theme that we're working with right now is the Divi theme, a popular theme by Elegant Themes. It's a great option, especially if you're just getting started with WordPress. So to configure post types, we have a client who's going to occasionally write blog posts, so we want to make sure that those posts get indexed. So we're unchecking posts to make sure that they have a sitemap of their own. Almost always going to uncheck pages. Pages creates a sitemap specifically for the pages of your website. This is the most important one in most business websites and should always be unchecked. Now in our case, media and projects are two different sections that our client won't be using on this website, so there's no reason to have them indexed. On my website, for example, I work with a similar theme, and in this theme, we use the project section for our portfolios and case studies heavily, so we do have them indexed, which means we have that box unchecked. It's different for every client. The next thing are excluded posts. Are there some blog posts or pages or anything else on your website that you don't want included in your sitemap and indexed by Google? So every single post and page has a post ID. You can get the post ID out of the URL string when you're on a page or post. You would put that post ID here, and I'll show you how to find it. Okay, so what I have up here is that default post that always comes with WordPress when you first install it. I'm going to show you how to find that ID in the URL string in case you want to exclude any of your posts. So I have the URL string pulled up in a preview view. So here's the post in WordPress, and I went to this Preview Changes button. That pulls up this view right here where you're logged in and you're previewing the new site. In that URL string, if you navigate over to the right, you'll see in the URL string this little section right here that says ID equals, and then it'll give you a number. That's the ID number. That is the one you want to put into your XML sitemap settings. It uniquely identifies any post or page. You would put that number in here and separate it with a comma. So if we wanted to separate this one, but it's only one, we would include that number. The next section are your taxonomies. So on your XML sitemap, there's also a way that WordPress generates certain feeds of new things that you put on your blog. So for example, if your blog has categories such as company news, industry updates, something along those lines where you categorize every post into one category, then you're going to want to uncheck the category box because you want a category-based sitemap. In most cases, you're not going to uncheck any of these other ones because there's no reason to create a bunch of duplicate URLs and have them all indexed. You can just use categories. If you have a pretty prominent blog or a complicated one, you want to uncheck categories and tags. That's pretty much it. For this client, they're not going to be blogging very often. So we're going to leave all of these boxes checked because there's no reason to index something that's never going to get updated. And hit Save Changes. And now it's all configured. But you're not done quite yet. The next thing that you need to do is make sure that your sitemap is working. So click on the General, you can find your XML sitemap here setting. And test it and make sure it's coming up. Sometimes different themes will have problems with the configuration of the sitemap. They'll have something built in overriding it. So issues can happen. Make sure that you always test it when you're done. Not only that, but then whatever sitemaps you've generated under the index, you want to test those as well. So we're going to test the page one and the post one. Page one has all our pages. Looks like we're good to go. And this one has all of our posts as well. Oh, see, that one didn't actually work. So now I know I need to go back, and I'll tell you the reason why is because we don't have any posts yet. So that's why that one isn't working, which I already knew, but just had enabled for the example. So, hope that helps you take care of your basic configuration for your XML sitemaps. Just some things to know that sitemaps do get much, much more complicated. You can do a lot more with them. You can help Google better understand your site by excluding certain pages, by establishing a prioritization on every single one, by telling Google how often you make changes. All of these things can be put into your XML sitemap. But the purpose of this video is really just to show you the basic configuration, since when you log in, it can be really overwhelming just to get a sitemap up and running. Thanks, hope it helped.